transforming the definition of experience globally for all people, all cultures, all governments, all business.
This is essentially a new sub-city of Dubai. 192 countries in one place, an architectural extravaganza really. Energetic, colourful, symbolic opening ceremony. Honestly, the P word is the North Star for everyone. Purpose, purpose, purpose.
A state-of-the-art facility in a city that will represent the future of cities to come, managed and orchestrated and curated by a team of the world's best.
It is kind of creating a new genre for what a global event would be measured against.
In business across major enterprises all over the world, how important these ideas of optimization are. But optimization isn't really what you're doing here. You're evolving. The risks that your team takes on a daily basis, the way the culture has a cadence and a rhythm of improvement and a process of management is fascinating to me, and those are the things that I was going to try to talk about.
So if you roll back to 2013 when Dubai won the right to host the World Expo, for the planning and the scale of initiatives that fall in under what Expo 2020 Dubai is all about is ginormous compared to running a 6-month event. When the starting gun is fired, that planning then has to multiply into a huge variety of work streams. From an architectural point of view, from a staff, hiring and training point of view, from a strategic positioning point of view. Then you've also got to then build all of the pavilions themselves, and each one of those is a microcosm of a creative brief. All of these, ultimately the art of this project has been to take all of these, rivers and merge them to a culmination of a 6-month event. This is essentially a new sub-city of Dubai. And then you've got the challenges of there are over between 2,000 and 3,000 amazing people have worked on this project. They've got a body of knowledge and a skill set, and it's facilitating them to find new opportunities, new jobs, and so on. So it's a ginormous project. In every respect, it's transformational, but it also goes beyond there, that it is kind of creating a new genre for what a global event would be measured against.
And not even just global events, there are lessons for smaller events as well as businesses, and there's a lot of learnings that can be shared. And I anticipate these teams will go on to educate the world after this. As I've watched customer experience, it's so basic to talk about the customer and their experience, but at the heart of it, that's what we're really talking about at scale. In 2015, we saw the first true business books about customer experience go on the shelves. Folks like Gene Bliss wrote Chief Customer Officer. That really, I think, created a management blueprint for the way we can speak about customer and experience in business in the context of how we go to market. But even though she in 2015 wrote that book, we didn't see e-commerce or the mobile phone technologies actually reach a capability to give us the data or the personalization till about 2018, really at scale. And if we're being fair, in 1994, that's when the customer experience frameworks were codified. So we've had a lot of years. You sort of started this right at the beginning of the birth of customer experience, and here you are now delivering the top tier CX in the world. So for me, this story of yours it's just been something fascinating that I want to talk to. Can you just give us the evolutionary history there?
Let me paint it in this way. Any chief executive, customer experience officer, CMO, whatever, has the opportunity to solicit the real world feedback from people experiencing whatever it is, and are able to dial up, dial down whatever's working, what's not working, track digital engagement, have multiple sources of surveys, run panels, whatever it might be. We went from creating a phenomenally energetic, colourful, symbolic opening ceremony, beamed all over the world on the 30th of September, lasting about 2 hours, to literally 10 hours later opening a visitor attraction that's twice the size of Monaco. And to be able to open the gates and expect everything to be working perfectly, that's really challenging. It's simple things like a video playing in one of the displays in the pavilion, which everyone's faced with doing a PowerPoint presentation, let alone putting on something at this scale. To making sure that the shuttle buses running from the car park to the main gates, what frequency is that? Is it every 7 minutes? Is it every 8 minutes? Is it every 9 minutes? How do you manage the flow of people? Are most people buying tickets on the website? What is the kind of arrival journey going back to when they buy tickets? And are people buying tickets at the gate? Do they want it online? How do you manage those? Do you need more ticket? All of those kind of things, you can do your modeling. I'm sure that some very sophisticated consultants were telling us, this is the model by which people will buy their tickets. 80% online and 20% here, whatever. But until you've got a real world experience to track and learn from and engage with, it's very, very difficult to make decisions. And being really honest, I think our visitors in the first month were amazing. That people gave us a lot of support in knowing that to do something on this scale and open literally like that, notwithstanding 8 years of planning, okay? 8 years of planning, lots of people involved, a very, very, very professional approach to as you can see from the layout of the site, it's not kind of, oh, well, let's just put something there. There was a huge amount of thought went into it. Nevertheless, when you open the doors and people, are paying money to come in and enjoy it, it's an extraordinary phenomena to me. Our visitors help us. They almost find the areas that we need to improve or address. The respect that we've earned for the sheer scale of this undertaking has given people has opened their eyes to what you can do in a very short space of time, and I think there are so many learnings from a customer experience point of view.
When we talk about the can-do, it sounds like changing the wheels on a car are challenging, but if you know the direction, if you have a purpose and a clear goal, it's easier to be efficient and agile and respond. Can you talk about the clear vision and how you implemented that vision across such complexity?
Honestly, the P word is the North Star for everyone. Purpose, purpose, purpose. I joined the project relatively late, about 9-10 months before it opened. Every single kind of decision that I was observing had to be made around programming and live event strategy, the relationships that we have with all of the international participants. From a macro kind of project point of view, was under the umbrella of connecting minds, creating the future. That was the strategic kind of anchor. This is actually saying we are bringing 192 countries, as it turns out, which is something like 50 or 60 countries more than any other World Fair has ever entertained. And then from a marketing and communications point of view, connecting minds, creating the future was almost the mantra or the kind of vision that all 192 countries would buy into, and they would understand their role in supporting that. In terms of bringing people into Dubai and into Expo to experience it, kind of created an offshoot thought around connecting minds, creating the future, and we developed the line, join the making of a new world. So this was very powerful in so much as this is the biggest global event happening in the post-pandemic world. This is not a kind of fun fair. This is actually entertainment with purpose. The only way the people working on this project from 2013 onwards, the only way they could ever remain sane and driven and directional is because there was a very, very clear and embraced purpose.
What were the lessons in growing the team? What does the Expo look for in terms of the right collaborator, participator, pioneer, producer?
I kind of inherited a team. When I joined, obviously I didn't have to create a team. Many people watching this will know that they've all had jobs or they've worked in organizations where there is a kind of drug element to it. There is something that transcends the sense of I work for this company. And I think for many people who, as you can imagine, have worked ridiculously long hours, dealt with a lot of setbacks. I mean, COVID itself obviously has, smacked in the face every organization when you are trying to, build something, 600 football pitches in size and attract, literally millions of people. It's not really, set against the global pandemic is really challenging. So I think you can't smash through, barriers without believing passionately in something.
So purpose, people, passion is the recipe. But you had to take all of that out to the customers or the people worldwide. And so you had to extend into multiple media formats, multiple channels, multiple languages, multiple cultures. Can you talk about how you wrapped your mind around that?
The World Expos have in some shape or form existed since the 1850s. I'd never ever been to an expo, not even a kind of regional expo. And so I used myself as a barometer. It was quite clear that there'd been a lot of focus on trying to fly the flag for Expo Dubai happening, but actually trying to help people understand exactly what they would experience has two challenges. The first challenge is that you can't show anything because it hasn't been built yet. So, we all know that computer-generated images, is fine, everyone gets it. But there's only so much you can do with that because it's got to be real. And the second challenge is that this genuinely was trying to break barriers, break rules. However you look at it, Expo 2020 Dubai was not bound by convention. It was not bound by, that one that happened there, we're going to make it even better. Whatever World Expos happened before, that's fine. Enjoy, right? This is going to be something transformational, something inventive, something that only Dubai could do.
So inviting the countries to participate in changing the world, that has a certain gravitas. What was the message to the individual person? What was the experience that you promised, and how did you take them on their journey from living in their city all the way here? You had to have a vision for that experience.
So I think, the 192 countries in one place, the fact that it is literally an architectural extravaganza, really, particularly in a post-pandemic world, you could almost get to the line of, one flight to see the world. The other aspect was we wanted people to come multiple times, right? The countries participating don't want to just have their kind of pavilion. They want to actually showcase their food, their entertainment, their own performances. So the entertainment side of what we've got is not just, big names like a Coldplay or Alicia Keys. It's also, some folk dancers from Panama or whatever that people would otherwise possibly never have a chance to experience. A lot of the country pavilions have their own restaurants, so there's over 200 kind of dining and drinking opportunities here. There was another very important aspect of what we're doing, which is around technology, and a lot of the countries are using Expo to showcase from within their own communities, digital inventions or automotive inventions or whatever. And then the final thing is we wanted to foster, which happens anyway at Expos, we wanted to foster business collaboration. So when you start to explain in different ways and target specific audiences with those core messages or core pillars, it becomes manageable and you can see a way through.
What I've learned from being here is that the Expo is the best example of transformation in the world, but even extending beyond the transformation, it truly is the new standard for innovation. When you think about all of this, are there some management lessons that you can share with us along the way?
I'd look at this in two ways. One is at a kind of senior management level, and the other is at departmental level.
Okay.
If you take the executive committee of something like this Expo, there will be the functional departments and how they work together. The only real train tracks, as it were, that we're following is the purpose and the vision. Because this could only exist for 6 months as Expo 2020 Dubai, everyone had to be on that train following the same train tracks. There are no silos because the events that we're booking is fundamentally linked with what the marketing needs to do, which what the operations team need to do to make sure that, so everyone is like kind of thrown into the sandpit because so silos don't, you know, something on this scale where there is no time, you have to all be, you know, aligned, but working like hand in glove. It's not like, oh well, we'll pass that over to legal now and then wait for them to come back. It's like legal need to be in on these meetings deciding now. So a lot of my job has been kicking down the barriers to enable things to happen fast. Sometimes there's no time to think too deeply. So someone needs to take the responsibility.
Is there a personal philosophy or a mantra? What do you say to yourself that motivates you from the inside out to bring the good energy to the people around you and the work at this level?
The more years I have on the clock, the more I just trust my own instinct. You have to understand your people, and you just have to trust your instinct from whatever experience over the years you've just been exposed to. The thing about Expo is no one's ever done anything like this before. So everything we're doing, it's not like someone can come along to me and say, well look, here's, you know, like a lawyer, precedent number 4267, you should have done it this way, not that way, because there is no playbook. There are playbooks for certain scenarios, but in totality, we are, you know, pioneers. And I'm feel incredibly privileged to have been part of it.
You're transforming the definition of experience globally for all people, all cultures, all governments, all business. And this global change is being sparked by this unification of over 100 countries in a state-of-the-art facility in a city that will represent the future of cities to come, managed and orchestrated and curated by a team of the world's best. Sholto, thank you. Expo 2020 Dubai, a story of transformation that redefined innovation. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for your time today.
I've enjoyed it immensely, Dennis, and I could have happily talked for longer.
I could have too.